Looks like we're ready to go. Polluted Delta pass. So usually with a 4-color pile like the one we see on the right, some people call it Strifo pile after MTGO player Strifo. Usually these decks don't have white. And that's it. That's really all there is to say. In the past, Strifo pile decks have had cards like Dak Fade-In, Punishing Fire, stuff like that. I don't think Gabe is doing that. Again, the deck list is posted in our Discord server. You can go check if that interests you. But yeah. All right, some people are not liking the Lord of the Rings format at first and then warmed up to it, and it's been really good, it seems. Limited. All right, maybe the first non-land play of the game about to happen here. Delver of Secrets.
All right. I'll pass it through.
I'm going to double fetch. 18.
All right, going for double fetch.
Underground Sea and
Okay, Underground Sea and a trop.
end of your turn, I'm going to drown and lock kill that.
Drown in the Lock. No days for that. Delver is down.
Tap. Land. I'll play Uro.
That's a basic island that Gabe just played, and here's Uro on the stack. It'll resolve, and it will go into the trash. Remember when everybody was mad about Uro, chat? Do you remember that? What was that, like 7 years ago? Where are those people now? What are they mad about now?
That is a island or plus creature.
Probably Murktide.
I know we played. I can't remember what you're on. You can't have to be.
I remember that you were on this one?
Yep. Mine is
Okay, wasting a trop. Cutting Gabe off green and potentially slowing down the escape of Uro.
I'll pass you.
okay.
Ooh, no land drop. That wasteland was great. Cracking a fetch now is Roland. Another wasteland could be devastating here. Yeah, they're mad that Magic is making new cards. I think that's accurate.
We're gonna wasteland. That hurts.
Bowmasters.
Bowmaster's hitting the stack. It went right into the glare. Sorry about that, everybody. That's a Bowmaster. Roland's getting the Orc army ready.
Delver. Yep.
Alright, so he resolves. So when he enters the battlefield, you get a trigger, right?
Yep, trigger.
Alright, target me.
Targeting you.
I'm going to respond with my own Bowmasters.
Cards here.
I have
Force pitching.
Okay, so responding to the ETB trigger of Bowmaster with a Bowmaster. Force pitching, drown in the lock. Are we going to see these Bowmasters trade, basically? Okay, Roland's Bowmaster is hit by Gabe's Bowmaster. Roland's Bowmaster. I see. Okay, so Roland's Bowmaster's trigger was on the stack targeting Gabe, and it was responded to with a Bowmaster. Okay. I don't know why I had trouble following that, but that's what happened. I think everybody understands. Fury, Assassin's Trophy, Minsk and Boo revealed by Thoughtseize. And Fury is taken. Fiscal Cliff, thanks for the sub with Prime. 11 months for Fiscal Cliff. Thank you. People of the chat thinking Uro would be found in Modern now. That's possible. Okay, so Bowmasters on Gabe's side is now destroyed. 8 a lightning bolt.
Actually, that's an artifact, right?
Passes the turn.
Yeah, artifact.
Combat?
Why not have you kill her?
Okay, a 1/1 Orc army attacking. Roland also has a 1/1 Orc army. And they're going to trade. Very nice. Kem Palace says Uro just goes into the existing 4-color shells that have already made a comeback because of the One Ring. Personally, I would prefer a format where that deck is not the most played. Talking about Modern, that is. I haven't played Modern very recently, so I don't really have a take. But I have heard from some of my competitive Modern player friends that the 4-color shell with the One Ring is maybe dominant is the word right now, or one of the top decks or something. And people aren't really loving it so far. But maybe things haven't shaken out yet.
I'll take a bird.
No, hey, you gotta try it.
Yep, let's go.
Brainstorm resolving here for Roland. No Bowmaster in response. Anybody watching right now seen the One Ring in action in Legacy? And if so, what do you think? Is the One Ring going to be a Legacy staple, or is it not good enough? What are your thoughts on that so far? YouTube chat, YouTube commenters as well. Anybody have an opinion? All right, Scott and Lewinell think it's good enough and great. Septimus, very good. A staple in big mud decks. Dragon's Rage Channeler for Roland. Big mana mud decks. Underground Sea got hit by Wasteland. Gabe will now fetch after floating a black. Maybe we're going to see Assassin's Trophy try to hit DRC. And what about Delighted Halfling? Is that going to be a Legacy staple now? Are people convinced? Is anyone not convinced? Okay, Assassin's Trophy on Underground Sea is actually happening here, not Dragon's Rage Channeler. Lewinell is not convinced for Delighted Halfling. And a Force pitching Brazen Borrower. Looks like looks like Delirium now for Roland. 4 types in the graveyard.
13.
That's like
actually considered like
13 for.
Did you already get me for the force or?
Yes, I did.
One from
Yeah,
last year.
Yep. Okay, and I'm gonna search.
Shuffle, 2 mana clone. I will unmask.
And in your both MTGO and tabletop legacy tournaments that you've played in recently, have you seen any neat new decks that we haven't seen before with Lord of the Rings cards or anything really interesting? Has there been anything noteworthy?
Ready to. Wait,
Any brews?
but you played the verdict.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. Okay, the verdict. There we go. My bad. You're right. I did play it. Okay, for very large.
1, 2, 3, 4, and. So you're at 18 now.
Yep.
Dragon's Rage Channeler down, but here's Murktide. It looks like it's going to be full size 8/8. And with just Minsk and Boo in hand, that's bad news for Gabe.
Untap.
Draws, doesn't play a land, passes the turn.
8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
And pass.
Yeah, uncounterable Minsk and Boo or Uro or Teferi, all really good.
I will pass your upkeep.
Okay.
I'm gonna bounce petty theft here.
Petty theft on Murktide. Okay, that's something. It slows it down. Murktide can come back. Gabe putting the Brazen Power on the life total phone. Very interesting. Wow. Roland is grabbing something. Oh, and on an adventure token. Very nice. MTG Banning in the chat. What's up, MTG Banning?
Let's see. Draw 2 and drop 2.
Incredible on an adventure token.
Okay.
Yeah, Delver for Roland. Minskamboo's still stuck in hand for now. Here's Uro from hand. Okay, it'll go into the trash. Delver trigger. Stifle revealed. Stifle, everybody. Wow. Remember Stifle? Insectile Aberration hits for 3. Blacker Lotus. Thanks for the reset with Prime. Chris, I blame you in this channel for the hole in my wallet for reserve list cards. Don't blame me for the reserve list prices, everybody. That's not my fault. I didn't do it.
I will pass your upkeep.
Bertizzi with a great question, and I see we have some Death and Taxes players in the chat who can chime in. Do I think adding black to Death and Taxes is a must with Bowmasters being so good for the metagame? I would not say it's a must. I'm not a Death and Taxes player, but that doesn't seem like a must to me. Death and Taxes is playing a different game. Is it worth testing? Maybe. Sure. I can see Death and Taxes players trying Bowmaster in the deck and seeing how it goes, but I'm not convinced it's a fit. All right, so Luinil, who is a Death and Taxes player, says it improves the deck, but all white still playable. I disclaimered I'm not a Death and Taxes player, so Luinil's opinion weighs a lot more than mine, that's for sure.
I will attempt to play Uro. I'll exile 1.
Oro getting escape. This could be a big problem for Roland.
2, 3, 4, 5.
Going to.
You mess around with the fourth arrow last in there, whatever that card is. The monarch card.
I guess you can find Bowmaster with Recruiter. And a daze on Uro getting escaped. Brazen Borrower is still on an adventure. Looks like we're passing the turn to Roland now. The Murktide is back in hand, remember, so it may come down. Gabe has 3 cards in hand. One of them is Minsk and Boo. Of course, Gabe could attempt an escape of Uro again next turn. Other than an 8/8 Murktide, Uro will be hard to race. It can be done, but it's going to be hard. All right, here's Murktide Region hitting the stack once again. Roland, I think, only has 2 instants and sorceries in the yard. So it's going to be a 5/5 Murktide. It's a little bit in the glare. Sorry about that, everybody. Yeah, Samwise the Stout-Hearted getting some play in Death and Taxes. I did see that. Yeah, Force of Phil had Samwise the Stout-Hearted in a control deck recently.
Yeah, I'll try and cast Uro again.
Uro's good.
1, 2, 3.
Good luck. 2, 5.
Geralt, with a great question. Why do competitive players flick their cards in hand so much? I think it started with trying to not allow your opponent to keep track of the cards in your hand and which cards you're looking at. But it's evolved into something else, a whole cultural phenomenon. I'm curious what people in the chat and the comments think. It's a little bit of a tick.
Is it when
it attacks, yeah.
Is it all one part of so?
I believe so. It's all like one ability.
One ability.
Yeah,
Okay,
so you can
sure.
stifle that.
Yes.
That whole trigger goes on. So I'll go attacks.
Okay. So the trigger.
Yep.
ADHD stim, that makes sense. Stifle on Uro's attack ability.
I'm gonna respond with a
Brainstorm in response. All right, so we might see this Minsk get picked up here.
So this is in my hand.
And Roland will no longer be able to keep track of exactly where it is. And we'll see if Gabe wants to respond to a stifle on Uro's attack ability. And there's a force pitching dress down.
Alright, so that trigger's good. 1, 2, 3.
Dress down.
I'll draw. No land. Pay for 6.
I don't know if Gabe will miss that dress down.
And main phase 2.
Thank you.
I'm gonna play Dak Faden.
Sure.
There's Dak Faden, whose name popped up when we started this match.
In response, I'm going to bolt target you.
Okay.
Draw 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Bolt in response to Dak Faden's ability, using the plus ability of Dak. Pontiff in the chat says, first time catching the stream live, been watching a lot on YouTube, getting into Legacy, played a lot of CDH and Modern, so I own various duels and staples. Welcome to the real show. Thank you, Pontiff, for being here. Awesome. There's a ponder happening, and looks like it's a ponder shuffle. Gabe is in range now of another bolt, going down to 2. And there it is. That is the game.
For this, for a non-reserve card.
All right, 1 card went in the bottom for Roland. Gabe. Sourcey in the chat says, wait, Chris, you're an influencer. Yeah. Yeah. Went out for drinks and some food with some magic friends the other night, and we were talking about if I'm an influencer or not, and it all unraveled, everybody. I don't feel like I'm an influencer.
No one asked.
All right, here's Delver's secrets. Token gate, exactly. MTG Banning says, wait a minute, if people approach you, doesn't that mean you're no longer a micro-influencer of a niche dying format? You might have a great point, MTG Banning. You might have a great point. Roland pointed something out. How would they recognize you? We don't know what your ears look like. Yes, I'm always wearing headphones on stream. So nobody knows what my ears look like. That's true. All right, Insect Aberration has attacked already. Early in this game, too. Has flipped over. Forza Phil claiming I'm earless. Maybe. Wouldn't really make sense to wear headphones then, though, right? Fiscal Cliff says, you influence the appeal of Legacy to me for what it's worth. Sure. I don't know. Influencer, content creator. What we were talking about when we were out for dinner and drinks the other day was content creator and influencer. Those words just make me uncomfortable. I don't feel like they're a fit for how I feel as a person. Does that make sense? I don't know. Torpid Ninja says, I missed the answer from a commercial. Yeah, so if you see me at an event, any Magic event, just say what's up. It's not a big deal. I'm pretty chill, I think. The iconic beard and shaved head. I hope that's not iconic, really. Hey, if this channel gets people into Legacy, great. Great. I love it.
On to that with a 1, 2, 3.
And I'm crushing.
When are we getting Chris Benucci tokens for sale? I have a bunch of stuff in a draft folder that I'm working on it, everybody. It's taking some time. There will be 90s MTG tokens are a win. Yeah, I'm a pillar of the format like Murktide, yeah. Hated equally, too. You should see how many downvotes I get when I post one of our videos on Reddit. Oh, God. The Dragon's Rage Channeler stuck in the glare there. Here's Orcish Bowmasters. I've become the very thing I sought to destroy. Yeah, you know what? That's true in many ways.
Some merch.
Submerge happening. Okay.
Return a creature, yeah.
So surveil trigger. I'm going to put this in the yard.
Surveil is putting a brainstorm into the graveyard. Ah, I see. So Submerge put Dragon's Rage Channeler on top of the library to protect it from Bowmaster. That makes sense. I wasn't sure. I was waiting to see why we would bounce Bowmaster here, but that's not what happened. Assassin's Trophy targeting Volcanic Island. Going after the lands again. Counting on Roland not being able to find a basic possibly.
This counts as if it's a spell itself, so I can't activate the second card. Just a basic. I could, but I can't cast
Basic land card, yeah, basic.
it. That's my spell.
And then I'll pass it.
Well, it's a spell. That if I cast a spell, I can't cast the card. That just has to be the only spell I cast. That makes sense.
Yeah, so it's not unclear. It's not that clear if Submerge was in response to Bowmaster on the stack or in response to its ability. If it was in response to the ability, would Gabe still get an army is the question that comes up here. Let me read Bowmaster's one more time. Damage. Sorry. Yeah, so it looks like a Mass Orcs 1 would not happen if it was targeting the DRC that was no longer a valid target. So maybe this Orc army should not exist. Not completely clear when the Submerge happened.
Actually, you can't because of the rig.
But both players are moving forward.
Combat?
Player, two. Unless you want to do an response to this, that's fine.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
Yep.
Yeah, so the ability that deals the damage would have to resolve and have a valid target for you to get the amass to happen.
After your draw, in fact.
Go to draw. So draw.
After your draw.
The target of the ability still has to be a valid target when it resolves. Surgical on Uro. Sorry about the glare, everybody. That's a surgical on Uro.
I'm going to respond with a Crown of the Law.
On this?
On
Can't respond on this.
yeah, on that. In response.
Drown in the Lock on Delver in response. Roland fetching.
In response to the into the response to the
Into the response to the response. Yeah.
response. Alright. I'm going to Fire Blast.
I'm going to respond with a Hydro Blast.
Fire Blast is good.
So Pyroblast on Drown in the Lock. Hydroblast on Pyroblast. And Uro has been surgical. Gabe's hand gets revealed. Vince and Boo dressed down in Endurance. Was Hydroblast cast using Badlands? It looks like it was, unfortunately. Both players missing that. It looks like there's an Underground Sea in the bottom right of the board. From our perspective. Attacker for 2. Seems unlikely based on Gabe's hand that this will matter, but Twitch chat is not having it. Understandably. Here's Murktide Regent, everybody. Murktide Regents. Every time this card gets cast, half the room leaves. They can't take it anymore. This card's too good. We can't have modern staples in our format, chat, right?
like, because once the monarchy is approved, that's good, but if you're against something like that's controlling.
Freak thinking endurance, pitching Minsk and Boo should have happened here. Ponder resolving now for Gabe. Endurance can eventually, doesn't have 2 green right now, but can eventually become a chump blocker, but that's not that exciting. This is an 8/8 Murktide, so it's a one-shot deal here. Gabe is trying to figure out what to do. Yeah, Endurance's ability is bad right now, although it doesn't look like Roland has any instants or sorceries in the yard at the moment. 4 lands and a Delver. So it won't grow Murktide.
I meant to do this, but kind of went too quickly. But that's my own fault. I should. It's fine. It's fine. It's not your fault. I should have done a little bit more on it. That's like why I assassin trophy your lands. So. All right, draw a Ponder.
All right, passing the turn. Got a land, so Endurance can flash in. Endurance on the stack.
Comes into play, trigger.
Trigger you.
Alright, so this goes to the bottom?
Yep. Shuffle.
All right, so Roland's Graveyard will go on the bottom. There were no instants and sorceries in there, so Roland will gain no. Well, there's a petty theft on Endurance, and that ends the match. That ends the match.